Well, after that, I can no longer take Finding Carter seriously. I just can't. Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This isn't really going to be for a review on Finding Carter, rather than a rant on just the series in general and what happened to this show. Seriously, I want to start this out by saying, what the fuck happened to this show? I mean, I watched last night's episode, season 2, episode 11, what was it even called? Wrecking Ball. And it was terrible. This episode was horrible. It really was. And it's the worst episode of this entire show. And I'm going to talk. This is worse than episode 4. Episode 4 was filler. Episode 4 just had stuff that wasn't interesting. This is supposed to have stuff that's interesting, and it's just not good anymore. And this tells me that I'm done. I am done with this show. I'm sorry. I don't care that the finale's next week. I'm not even watching the finale. I don't care that it's coming back. I don't care if the show is going to get better. In my eyes, it can't get better. Now you're going to say, well, you had the same problem with Awkward. Why don't you just do what you did with that? Why don't you see if it can get better? I've tried that all damn season, guys. Seriously. I've tried that since episode 4. They had 2 really good episodes. They had, they had like 4 really solid episodes. And then they start getting to this really dumb stuff. After, I'd say, episode 9 is when the show just got horrible. Really, it's horrible now. It's legitimately a horrible show. I can't watch this show anymore. I can't, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly what the biggest mistake was with this episode. Let me tell you what would have made let me tell you guys something. I hated one storyline in Awkward. That's really what the problem was with Season 4 of Awkward, is that I hated one storyline. It just wasn't working for me. And that, of course, was the Eva storyline. It wasn't going anywhere. I didn't like it. I thought it was dumb. It wasn't, really heading into the direction that I liked. It didn't feel like Awkward. And they got rid of that storyline. That's good. They abandoned it. Finding Carter, I hate everything in this show. I really do. I hate literally every single thing going on in this show. And I particularly loved the episode till a certain point, till I realized something about this episode. And that is that this show doesn't have the big stuff that it used to have. You don't feel anything for these characters. You don't feel anything, and everything just feels random. Really, it does. Everything feels so shoehorned in. I mean, this episode the episode started with Carter and Max immediately telling Taylor that, they slept together, and I'm like, you couldn't have told her this last week? Like, seriously, it was that easy? They made it seem like it was this huge thing last week, and then it's just like, oh yeah, Max and I slept together. Why should I care? Like, seriously, that is the dumbest way they could have handled it. Here's how they should have handled it. I feel like Taylor and Max should have been talking conversation and Max just brings it up. That would have been a lot better if they did it that way, rather than Carter just flat out telling her. And I understand they had to tell her eventually, but why couldn't you just told her last week? It was dumb that they dragged it out for so long, that the payoff was stupid, and I hated the way they handled that, honestly. And everything in the show that's supposed to feel big doesn't feel big because the actors, I think, the acting's not even good on this show anymore, to be completely honest with you guys. It really isn't. I really don't like the acting anymore. There's a random scene in the episode with the SATs, and I'm just like, I don't care. Why should I care about what scores they got on the SATs? Why does this matter to me? What does it have anything to do with the show? Honestly, I didn't care about that. They spend way too much time on these things that don't matter. I'll tell you what I really liked this episode was Elizabeth and David deciding to not get a divorce. I thought that was very well done. I loved Elizabeth's what seemed like a final goodbye with Kyle. I thought that would have been the perfect ending for her and Kyle. If they would have ended things that way and that would have been the last scene for Kyle, it could have been great. I mean, she even says to him, thank you for what you've done. I truly always loved you. I thought that was a really great scene. I definitely really loved that. Definitely that was very well done. But things like that, again, this show has good scenes, but it does not have a good episode overall. And I'm just done. I really am. And the dialogue was so bad in this episode. The acting was so bad, honestly. I'll tell you what saved this episode for me. The first 20 minutes were great, and then it just deteriorated after that. The second that diner scene happened, I was like, this episode's terrible now. I mean, when we saw Taylor and, Crash revealed to her what happened, basically, she revealed to Crash what happened, I'm like, seriously, that's how you handle it? And then the fact that he just randomly was okay with Carter telling him all this stuff about, what happened to Lori. He's like, okay, moving on. I thought that was so dumb the way they handled it. Honestly, it was so dumb, and I absolutely hated the way they handled it. Honestly, it's not the worst thing about this episode. I will get to the worst thing about this episode, which honestly is genuinely hilarious. And this show's now a hilariosity. That's really what it is. I mean, Chris Stuckman, how he has hilariosities. That's what this TV show is. It's a show I laugh at. It's a show I make fun of. It's not a show I can watch seriously anymore. It's basically Under the Dome. That's how bad this show is. It is to the equivalent of Under the Dome. Really, you know how I've heard people say that you make fun of Under the Dome? Well, I'm making fun of this show. There's nothing in this show I can take seriously anymore. Max is literally a sex symbol right now, and I'll talk about why. They just did the same exact storyline with him in The Fosters. They did the same exact storyline with him. He hooked up with Mariana, and she might possibly be pregnant, and it's like, they only did that because of finding Carter. And come on, Max Sankin, you're better than this. You're a very good actor. They don't need to make you sleep with all these random girls. Why do you keep sleeping with people's people's friends, sisters of your friends? I think it's stupid that they're doing that. I really can't stand that, and it's really dumb. Crash, I really liked in this episode. I thought Crash was a really good character. I like the way they handled his storyline. I didn't like how random it was, though. It felt so out of place when he came back. I'm like, oh, okay, Crash is back. Why the fuck should I give a shit? Like, I didn't care. I really didn't care that Crash was back. And it didn't change anything about the episode. It didn't make the episode better. It was just like, okay, Crash is back. Whatever. Who cares? It's like, okay, can we, wrap this up? I just thought that was kind of stupid that we had that. The big reveal when, by far, one of the funniest scenes in this episode is Carter and Crash in the car, and she starts talking to Crash about literally everything she's gone through this season. And I'm just laughing because it's like, the writers didn't know what to do, and they know that they have to have some sort of continuation to the storylines this season, so they're just going to reference every single thing that happened this season. It's ridiculous. She's like, I got abducted, and Lori tried to kill herself, and then Max and I slept together, and Crash just like, alright, moving on. He doesn't even care. Like, he doesn't have a reaction. He's just like, alright, fine, you and Max slept together, who cares? He didn't care that she said that. I'm just like, that's your reaction? Like, what the fuck? Like, your reaction is just, oh, okay, you slept together. Well, okay, let's move on from that. I thought that was ridiculous that he reacted that way. That was so unrealistic. I mean, this was a very realistic show in the first season, and that's what a shame is. It's that the show was fantastic in the first season. That's because it avoided all these dumb cliches. It avoided all the things that made the show so bad, honestly. It doesn't do what this season did. MTV really needs to stop getting new writers for their shows. It didn't work for Awkward. At least the Awkward writers know what they're doing now. They know what kind of show they need to make. They know what Awkward is. These writers, I don't even think they saw a single episode of Finding Carter. I think they literally read the plot description, and they're just like, okay, let's see how we can make it really stupid. I think that's literally what they did. I don't think they realized that they're making it stupid. And again, the Finding Carter Facebook page makes it seem like this is like the Citizen Kane. It makes it seem like this is like Breaking Bad. That's literally what the Facebook page is like. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe this revelation happened. It's so amazing. I feel so bad for this person. It's like, shut up. Your show's not that good. Shut up. It's not Breaking Bad. Sit down. Like, it's not good, honestly. Like, what show are we watching here, really? The worst parts of this episode, though, by far, is the dialogue. I was laughing at stuff in this episode. One of the funniest lines in this episode, just randomly, Elizabeth and David are brushing their teeth, right? And, they're talking about how they love being back together. It's sweet and all. This could be a very sweet scene until David's like, I love us sitting together, brushing our teeth. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, nobody would say that in real life. No one would be like, I love us brushing our teeth together. Nobody would say that. Seriously, if you were in real life, you would not say, I love us brushing our teeth. If you're trying to impress a girl, especially, you would not say that. And I'm just like, that's the best you can come up with. It's so cheesy and so cliche. And I was legitimately laughing at how bad the dialogue was. I'm being completely honest. I was laughing. And then, of course, we get to what was by far the worst thing about this episode, the worst mistake they could have made in this episode again. That scene with Kyle would have been perfect. That scene where Elizabeth says goodbye to him, that could have been a perfect final scene to Kyle. We didn't need to see him anymore. He didn't need to be on the show anymore. What happens here is completely pointless because Shay, of course, is back, and he's trying to get Crash to come back with him. He basically kidnaps Crash, and as we saw in the promo last week, it seemed like Elizabeth got shot. Here's what would make this episode 10 times better. if Elizabeth would have if Elizabeth would have actually gotten shot, I feel like this would have changed everything for the show and actually made the show better. And it's not that I don't like her character. I really like Elizabeth's character. It's the dialogue and the storylines they're giving her. I still really like the characters of this show, but it's the dialogue and storylines they're giving them. I can't stand it. I really can't. I really am just like, I can't take this seriously anymore. I can't. Honestly, I can't. And I want to take this stuff seriously, but I can't. I laughed at Kyle's death scene. I'm not kidding you. I was laughing. The second that Kyle was like, roar! Like, the second he went like that, I was like, oh my god, what is he, a wild animal or something? Like, it was ridiculous. I was laughing at it. Never, ever do an action scene again. This show does not know how to do action scenes. That is about the least effective action scene I've ever seen. Of course, Kyle shot. There's blood everywhere. Whoopee. I don't even care. I really don't care that Kyle was shot. And the way they handled it was so bad as well. I mean, she's just like, we need backup. Oh my god, we need It's so over the top and cheesy, and it was so stupid. It really was. I mean, they could have handled this in such a better way. Think of how they handled the whole thing with crash test scenes. That's how they should have handled this. That would have made this a lot better, but of course, no. They're just incapable of doing good stories, really. I'm pretty sure they're just incapable at this point of making a good, solid storyline. That really sucks, because that's one of the things that made the first season so good. Definitely, it really sucks that it's not good anymore. The fact that, and here's the thing with Kyle, I would care, but he's not a major character. He's not a central character. We don't even know much about him except that he slept with Elizabeth, and he's been with Elizabeth, and he cares for her, and he truly does love her, and he's a good father to Kyle. I mean, he's a good father to Gabe. I don't even care about the characters anymore. Whoopi, whatever. I don't care. I don't. I don't care what his... I don't care about his character. I never have. I think that he was an interesting character. Here's what he was. He was a good person for Elizabeth to be with. That's what he was, really. That's all he really was. Him by himself is not that interesting of a character. And I love the way she just ended where she's like, Kyle's dead. And she says it like in the most serious way ever. And it's like, I don't even care. I don't care that Kyle died. And there's no way that I'm watching the season finale, honestly. I laughed at a death scene that I'm supposed to feel affected about, and I don't care at all. I don't. I wish I cared, but I just don't. I really don't. And it really sucks with how bad the show has gone. It really has. I'm going to tell you guys where the show went wrong. What could have made the season better. What they should have done. Of course, the season began with Carter with Lori kidnapped. They should have stretched this out for many, many episodes, and maybe she should have gone out halfway through the season, and then done this story, and then start this stuff up. Then maybe it would have worked a lot better. The reason this season was so bad is because it was all so filler. Nothing really matters this season. I mean, sure, Carter and Max slept together. Wow, it's not that interesting. Elizabeth and David getting divorced could have been interesting, but they stretched it out so long that I don't even care anymore. Kyle getting shot, not that interesting. These things are supposed to be interesting. They're not interesting at all. I'm going to tell you guys this. The AV Club gave this episode a D. A D, and they really love this show, and I don't always agree with them, but I agree with everything they've said about Finding Carter, that this show does not know what it needs to be. It doesn't realize how small it really is. It thinks it's this big thing when it's really not that huge. These revelations they're revealing don't really matter. I mean, who cares that Crash joined the army? Do I really care that Shay is back in Crash's life? I really don't. I didn't even care that Crash came back in this episode, because there was no reason for him to come back. The only reason he came back is so Shay could come back, and we had the whole thing with Kyle dying. That's the only reason he came back. There was no reason to bring Crash back. Really, there wasn't. And I would have wanted a better reason, but there really wasn't. And again, there's stuff in the episode that's very well done. Like, Elizabeth and David scenes are handled very well, minus the whole, let's brush our teeth together. That's about it. I mean, that was really dumb. But, I mean, that's, like, the best line ever, really. It's like, I love when we brush our teeth. Like, seriously, I would love to see that. That sounds literally like, this is, like, honestly, the characters in this show, like, the characters now, they have pretty much the chemistry of Twilight. That's what this is. This is Twilight now. That's exactly what this is. It's Twilight. I'm not kidding you guys. It's Twilight. That's how bad this show is. I feel like I'm watching Twilight. Really, I do. I mean, just think about all these storylines going away. There's dumb love triangle. We have ridiculous action scenes that serve no purpose whatever. We have these really underwhelming things going on. We have these things that feel much bigger than they do. It's literally Twilight. It really is. And it's ridiculous. Honestly, it's stupid. I hate it. And the show could be a lot better. I mean, scenes with Taylor and Max are really good. Scenes with Elizabeth and David are really good. But the show as a whole is just not good anymore. And I know it's not going to get better. There's no way. They have, like, next week is the season finale. I'm not interested at all. At least with Awkward, I was interested in the finale. They had an awesome cliffhanger before that season 4 finale. Which, yeah, it was bad. It was bad, really. That finale, I don't think it was bad, but it was not Awkward standard. It really was not. And it didn't feel like Awkward. It was way too mean-spirited. And I mean, it was a great cliffhanger, but here, there's nothing I care about. There's nothing they did to make me hype for the season finale. There's nothing they did that made me interested in the show, and they didn't do what I want, because I told myself, if this episode is not good all the way through, I'm done. Because I want an episode that was as good as the episode 8, because what happened there? Episode 8, they got perfectly. That's how you write an episode of Finding Carter. What did you do? Like, it was filler, it was funny, it had the great family dynamic we loved. It had some truly dramatic scenes, it had some really shocking reveals, it worked very well. And then you had to have Max sleep with Carter, and it does nothing. All you did was do this because you want to create drama, and it's stupid, and it's dumb, and it's cliched, and I hate these cliched storylines. I can't stand it anymore. Which is why I'm done with this show. I hate to say it, but I'm done with this show. It really sucks that this show is in my top 10 of 2014, and now it's in my top 10 worst, honestly. It would probably be in my top 10 worst. Right below, honestly, right below where I think Stitchers would be. Stitchers is by far the worst show I've seen this year. I watched the first episode. Oh my god, it's so bad. Actually, no, right below Gotham. That's how bad this is. This is Gotham. This is to the equivalent of Gotham, which, if you know, I can't stand that show either. I think it's way too cheesy, it's too dark, it's not dark enough, it's too fun, and it shouldn't be. And again, I'm laughing at the show, and I don't want to, and I don't want to watch anymore. I really don't. It's like when you watch a really bad movie. Those I can tolerate because they're movies. You only watch them once, and then good, you're done. This I have to watch for 12 weeks. Fuck no, I'm not continuing this show. No way I'm continuing this show. I don't care how good it gets. These writers don't know what they're doing, and I'm sorry, I'm done. I really am. I'm done. So that's basically my rant on Finding Carter. Let me know what you guys saw this season. I don't even think people care. I really don't. Go to Finding Carter's Facebook page. There's barely anyone that actually watches this show anymore. I never see people talking about the show. I don't see people saying, oh, that was a great episode. I don't see people really talking. I had a chat with this girl last night on Twitter. She agreed with me the episode was terrible and the show is boring now. And everyone's agreed that the show's boring. It's boring. Honestly, it shouldn't be boring, but it's boring. And I really hope that Teen Wolf Season 5 is as good as they're saying it is, which I've heard it's amazing, but I hope it's good, because MTV really needs to get their shit together. I mean, Awkward is great now, but Finding Carter, oh my god, this was like their best show, and now it's not. It's a disaster now, it really is. But that's it. Let me know what you guys saw of the show. What really was the downfall of the show? What made you quit this show? What made this show so bad? I personally think the second that we found out that Lori was the egg donor, that's when the show really got bad, is when they started that twist, because it became cliched and it became dumb, and it changed the direction the show was going in. I think maybe when Taylor broke up with Max and then got back together with him, that was dumb. Really, it was. And they should never broke up. They really shouldn't. It was dumb to do that. And that's what you do with this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for a movie review, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.